Hey guys, welcome back to Shifting Gears, episode number 4. We
4.
are almost a month in. Wow, time
Look at
flies
us
when
go.
time flies when you're figuring it out. That's just how this one goes. Speaking of figuring it out, let's just go over to Whitney. No transition needed.
Yeah, Amazon still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
So as of Monday, which for reference today is Thursday, Amazon laid off another 9,000 people, pulling their total up to 27,000. It's the biggest layoff that the company has ever experienced. I am a bit concerned about the statement from the chief executive, Andy Jassy, saying that the 9,000 cuts were not mentioned prior to it happening because they couldn't figure out which jobs needed to be cut.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Just not knowing what to do with 9,000 people.
Yeah, especially after when COVID first really bloomed in the US, Amazon went on this massive hiring spree.
Oh yeah.
And brought on tons of employees. And so it sounds like they've now not only laid off the ones that they brought on, but they've surpassed that number to match the recession. But to not know why or which roles need to be let go, to me sounds like a foundational kind of problem.
Well, it's sort of an embarrassment of riches as well, that you can, I don't want to say afford, but you can survive cutting 27,000 people, which is, I mean, there's not very many companies out there that even have that many people to begin with.
No.
So Amazon essentially just took out the equivalent of business, and they're going to be okay because they're Amazon, of course. But this is something that hasn't only affected Amazon. It's really a lot of delivery services, a lot of e-commerce services that have relied on having to transport goods to people's homes because they were not leaving their homes. Well, now we're allowed to leave. And the trucking business, it's not like they don't know how to do this. It's not like, we don't know how to act before COVID. We had hundreds of years of not doing that.
Yeah.
But it's just the way that everything moves so quick, so fast now. I mean, it's tough to keep up. And they obviously overhired and basically under-delivered, at least to the people that they hired. So I feel like it's kind of just beginning, honestly. I don't think it's going to get any better.
Right. And everybody knows that history repeats itself, which means the recession isn't going to last forever. Sure. So the real question is, are they going to keep the slimmer workforce that they have once the economy starts to regulate itself? We will experience another recession. We will experience, another high swing for the economy. That is what happens.
Yeah.
And so that's the looming question I have is, it's early in 2023, but thinking about 2024.
Yeah, if they can find a happy medium.
Right. Is how many jobs are going to open back up?
Well, jobs in the port of LA and Long Beach don't necessarily seem to be a lot of fun because the unions there have been fighting with the port administration for really actually a long time, but it's coming into a kind of a funny, if not petty, head right now. So labor tensions are worsening here as the employers of these ports are accusing their employees, their unionized employees at least, of basically sabotaging the speed at which the operation can run. They're not staggering the meal times, lunch times, so they're just all taking lunch at the same time to basically stop all operations for like an hour, or however long it is that they take their lunch.
It's smart.
It's hilarious. I honestly think this is awesome because it's like, oh, I'm not technically doing anything wrong, as stated by this quote right here, but from Willie Adams. He's the president of the International Longshore and Warehouse Union. He said his members are allowed, quote, to take a lunch break like everyone else.
Organized chaos.
They didn't say when. I love me some anarchy. So, this also comes in the middle of a major shift in the way that U.S. ports have been running. There's been a lot less attention on the West Coast as, U.S. and China trade restrictions have basically taken what was a booming shipping economy on the West Coast, especially the ports of L.A. and Long Beach, and essentially transferred it to the East Coast and the Gulf Coast, the Gulf ports and all that, because Well, shippers need to save money. Sometimes they can't even get stuff from China anymore because of the restrictions. It might just cost a lot more than it really should. So New York and New Jersey ports, if you look at some of the numbers, they're going up right now, whereas LA and Long Beach are going down. And this isn't helping the situation at all. I would imagine shippers are wary of sending things to a port where you never know when the workers are just going to go take lunch and not unload your ship.
Just not be there.
Yeah. So, what could end up happening, worst case scenario, is what happened in 2002. All right, so we had George Bush here. He was forced to invoke his powers under the Taft-Hartley Act, which I don't to basically force the ports to reopen under a similar circumstance here, where the unions just could not get along. Not too dissimilar was the train dispute, the train union dispute, railroad dispute. Sorry, I had to find that word. In which the government had to step in and basically broker their own agreement. And so the same thing might end up happening here at the ports of LA and Long Beach if they don't get it under control.
So more on that story in coming episodes.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. But one thing, one story that is coming to an end, not starting, is the V8 engine. So muscle car fans out there. My dad, shout out to my dad.
Hi, Grayson's dad.
Yeah, you're not going to like this, buddy. So Dodge is about to release the final V8 engine car from them anyway, ever. So they're done. Like, this is a notorious muscle car brand.
Do we have a price point on that?
Ooh, boy, do we.
Oh, man.
All right, so this thing is called the Challenger SRT Demon.
Whoa. Bold name.
The Demon will start at... I didn't realize what the price was actually until just now. That's insane.
I haven't looked. Tell me.
$96,666. It's called the Demon.
I don't know what to say to that.
It's cheeky right there. That's cheeky. It slipped it under me, and I would have noticed that. That's wild. Yeah, that's actually that's petty. I love me a good petty story around here. So Dodge only plans to build around 3,000 of them, because how are you going to sell any more than that, honestly? Actually, it could be a collector's item now that I'm thinking about it.
Oh, it will be.
The last V8 engine from Dodge, I mean, in like 50 years, it's going to be like, sheesh. I mean, if it can, the Max model goes up to about $120,000. So you're talking about, I mean, this thing in 50 years could be worth a couple million. Here's where it gets real fun, Whitney.
Okay.
All right, so in 2018.
Okay.
The exact same model, may I remind you, called the Demon.
Sure. Yep.
Was criticized for being too powerful and, quote, barely street legal.
Were these people in the United States that made that claim?
Oh, they couldn't have been. And
that would be truly shocking.
Yeah.
We like to push the boundaries.
Nah, here in America, that would have been celebrated. So, to avoid any sort of criticism about it being too powerful or whatever, Dodge said, don't worry about it. We'll just give it 1,025 horsepower with 945 pounds of torque, and it can reach 60 miles an hour in 1.66 seconds.
A lot of that is jargon to me, but it sounds very impressive.
It's a rocket.
Well,
they put a space rocket on this thing.
It sounds like a lot.
You know how fast this thing goes? The top model comes with a parachute. I'm not joking, like a drag racing car. for when you're about to miss your exit and you just gotta like release a parachute into the minivan behind you so that you can pull into Wendy's before breakfast gets done.
I didn't know I needed a parachute attached to my car, but now I have new expectations for my Honda Civic.
There are no practical situations in which you would need a parachute on your car.
No.
None.
This was this week, right? That this happened. The U.S. Xpress has been sold. They've been acquired by Knight Swift Transportation.
Yep.
And it was a pretty substantial acquisition. It was just over $8 million.
No, more than that. $808 million.
Sorry, 800.
Yeah. That's what made it crazy to me. It was a lot.
And that's over 4 times. Or sorry, that's like over 4 times what their recent share price was, which is wild to me. It's like in this day and age, the recession that we're seeing the direction that the supply chain is taking, the technology that people are investing in, that kind of acquisition is like groundbreaking.
Well, it's a game
in my
changer.
opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the merger will increase Knight-Swift's trucking fleet to around 25,000 trucks, which they already have. I mean, everybody sees them on the road.
Yeah,
so we're going to be seeing way more. And with those trucks are going to be about 93,000 trailers that we're going to see on the streets. So their annual revenue, of course, is going to go through the roof by a few billion through this acquisition.
Give or take,
yeah, and I think that this is just the tip of the iceberg of what we're about to see walking through the summer and the fall.
Well, yeah, I think what's going to be interesting to see is there will be a lot more attempts, I believe, at mergers and acquisitions. But something that the Biden administration has made very clear and has already acted on is trying to break up mergers and increase competition with other companies and businesses. So, basically a monopoly buster situation, and it seems like this one's going to go through the way that it's being reported. I don't necessarily see. I mean, also U.S. Xpress, they've been trying to sell for years. It's not like this is I don't really see anything nefarious about this. It just sort of seems like this was a company that was crawling to the finish line, and somebody decided to pick them up and throw them across. And
for a pretty penny.
Yeah,
mind you, that waiting game.
Yeah, I would like to fail for $808 million. That would be fantastic. So.
But they will still be operating underneath their name, just as a division of Knight-Swift. So they're still going to be U.S. Xpress, which is great for the company.
Yeah, it's great for Chattanooga. It feels like I was still nothing's really changed. You know what I mean?
The brand's still around. Absolutely. So those of you that know the company, which are most people in the supply chain, you know that brand is still going to be around, which is great for their company.
Absolutely. Wendy, speaking of trucking companies here, I'm sure that a lot of U.S. Xpress drivers can sort of relate to what I'm about to throw at you here. So truck drivers, they go everywhere. They see everything. So I decided to look up what are some of the craziest things that truck drivers have seen other drivers doing. Because you would imagine they're way up high up there. They got a nice bird's eye view of everything. They're always on the road. They're going to see some crazy stuff. And believe me, they have. We'll start with number one. The strangest thing I've seen was a goat riding in the passenger seat like a person. Was it buckled up? It even had a seatbelt on. Yes. Look at that. Of course it did. Look at that. Gotta keep that goat safe. This one says, my dad is a truck driver of over 20 years. He once saw a lady with a cutting board on her lap, cutting up fruit and putting it into a bowl on the passenger seat. So she was driving and making a fruit salad. That is so stupid. Yeah, you gotta make something more delicious than that. What are you doing? That's the real problem here. My goodness. Truly. Saw a guy practicing his guitar while driving. He just wanted to hear Wonderwall, you know? The radio wasn't cutting it. How do you even fit a whole guitar? Drive with your knees, I guess. Just... Lefties like me can't do that. You'd have to roll the window down. Oh, that's unfortunate. A surprising number of people drive without pants. Guys, be different. That's weird. Put your pants on. Do you get in your car without your pants? Or is this a decision that you make while mobile? We shouldn't answer that. I don't want to think about those reasons. They can just have their own. People are a plague. I saw a guy playing video poker on his phone. He was riding a motorcycle. That is so dangerous. Oh my gosh. I saw a lion in a car. A lion? A real one. A lion. Like a real lion in a car. How does a lion fit in a car? You ever seen Hangover? It was a tiger, but you know. Yeah, first of all, different animal. Second of all, probably not real. Anyway, go ahead. Well, my final story isn't as great, but I know it wasn't as fun and as novel. But so there's this company called QCells. Okay. And they're about to invest $2.5 billion in a fully solar supply chain. That's a lot of money. So yeah, so they already have 2 plants. Yeah, so making solar panels. They already have 2 plants in Georgia. Okay.
They're about to open their third, and it's going to be in Dalton, Georgia, which is
Hey,
right down the road.
that's right with the college.
Yeah, right down the road from Chattanooga. It's exciting for us. It'll be the largest clean energy investment in the U.S. to date.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
The same place where they make all the carpet?
Yes, Dalton, Georgia. Another random place is Tiffin, Ohio. You should look that one up. There's like weird things that are stationed out there.
That's just an Ohio thing, being weird.
So today, March 23rd, there was an announcement that was made that 147 million were going to be invested to expand in another county in Georgia, opening 160 jobs. So last week we talked about how we're seeing some more jobs kind of phasing out. Well, good news. There are still companies that are innovating in ways that allow more jobs to open up.
Interesting.
For people, yeah. And this is exciting because it's so close to us. It feels like we get to see the benefits of this as well.
Good. It's good for the broader economy, and then also selfishly, it's good for the local economy. So everybody wins. Yeah,
and so after this opens, Q Cells will be the only company to establish a fully integrated silica-based solar supply chain from raw materials from start to finish. And because all of this is based in the U.S., there are absolutely zero imports that are involved, which is really interesting.
And that's been a new thing of like nearshoring and domesticating stuff. I mean, that's another thing that the pandemic changed. A lot of domestic stuff now. We're seeing it right here.
So, and this was an exciting one to share just because we are in Chattanooga and we're seeing some of these happen just over state lines.
Oh, that was cool.
I mean, we can watch this plant being built and people in our own backyard are getting jobs. And with all these layoffs going on, this is good news in my opinion. Small number of jobs, but it's a start and there is hope. All right, we'll see you next week. Bye guys.
Bye guys.